because you guys are from TP and NYP respectively, right?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I'm from TV, but I think NYP is actually going to take this just because they have the stronger individual mechanics.
Right.
And, you know, pro players on their team might have a little bit more competitive edge thanks to their synergy.
Right, so TP more synergy, rather NYP more synergy, and Gerard, what do you think?
Well, I think that
Oh, not
NYP,
this.
I have a t-shirt here because I'm
Oh,
from NYP,
oh, okay.
that's NYP
All
Pride.
right.
Yes,
NYP
props.
will win
NYP,
this.
there we go, right.
That's
Getting the
right.
shirt in the shot. Come on, Gerard.
Yeah, alright, yeah,
Team
there we
NYP?
go. Team NYP indeed.
All right.
Can
so
we find him for bias?
No, we're okay. We're okay with the bias on the desk.
No, okay then.
My school lost yesterday, so I'm rooting for TP to take out NYP here.
Ooh.
That being said, we are in picks and bans. I don't want to ignore the game all too much. Aurelia, Karma, and Lucian banned out for TP, and no surprise, the Yasuo will be removed against Kiwi123, who is that famous Yasuo one trick, and the Sejuani as well.
Yeah, at this point, Yasuo is just like a
Perma
ban
Yeah.
against him. We haven't actually
Yeah.
seen him play it throughout this entire tournament. And I don't think we're gonna be seeing him play it at all in these next few games.
Yeah, I don't think that NYP is going to let that fall into TP's hands. I mean, we've talked about how strong Yon can be, and even stronger, I would assume, on Yasuo, which is the main champion.
This is quite interesting here. They left the Aatrox open, and Kiwi had an amazing game on that, but the Sylas is up as well. I think Shinsekai really does enjoy playing that jungle Sylas for NYP, so instead they're going to be hovering the Braum here. We saw Kiwi play the Aatrox yesterday. Pretty decent
did.
performance.
Oh yeah, that's right. After Krex helped get him online, he basically just stormed through the game. He steamrolled the game. There was a Scion on the enemy side,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he just tore through the health bar.
And that was a difficult match up for the Scion in itself. But that being said, we'll see the Yuumi locked in, and there you go, the Sylas for Shinsekai, completely banned out in the semis yesterday, but this time he's going to be up to play that champion.
We're gonna see whether or not Sylas is still actually that strong pick that has been, you know, banned constantly throughout the semifinals.
Right, so now moving over to the TP side, Krex is going to have his fill of what he wants. I think Jarvan being open might just signal that he wants that, but instead Zaya Rakan also not too bad. And there you go, TP insta-lock the Lurvers duo in the bot lane.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very threatening bot lane. 2 power picks.
Kali,
We're gonna see Akali as well, which is
Akali.
gonna be very interesting. Might go into the top lane against that Aatrox. I think we've seen it a couple of times, and you know she does okay, but she does need a few. She does need a bit of jungle pressure.
I want to see this mid lane Akali Raven pop off because he is so proficient on that champion, and if the Akali does get a hit, well, I don't think iNitrogen is going to get to play much League of Legends today.
Yeah, that's right. I remember way back in the qualifiers watching NYP Raven just go around in Akali, solo killing people
killing
left
everyone, yeah.
and right. The champion is just so insane, and in his hands it can just do so much.
Next set of bans coming, it's going to be LeBlanc taken away from Epistemology. Man, you were talking about this yesterday. How do you feel about this, LeBlanc?
I mean, Epistemology loves his LeBlanc, so taking it away from him, we have seen him on the Nico was pretty okay, but I think he was missing some of his spicy tricks.
Yeah. Now, I want to point out that 3 AD carries have been banned by TP, and these are the AD carries you normally see Yuumi players pair up with, Ezreal, Silver, and Lucian. In this case, it has to be a Kai'Sa because a lot of things have been removed.
Yep.
You normally want to go for something with a bit more mobility or safety, and Kai'Sa, though, does not necessarily fit the bill.
I think Kai'Sa at this point isn't that bad. She does bring a bit more of a mid-game damage. Once she gets 1 or 2 items, she can come online, begin to put out some damage onto TP.
Corki has been locked in for Temasek Polytechnic, and it should be the mid lane Corki for Epistemology. A very good blind pick, very safe. We've seen the recent popularity of Azir Corki just because these mid laners are so good at skimming past the laning phase and proceeding to power on in the mid and late game stages. Rek'Sai last pick for Krex.
And here's the thing about Corki though. We haven't seen whether or not Raven wants to take the Akali into him, because one way that you can actually counter the Azir and the Corki is to take them out in the early game with these high impact assassins.
Hovering the Yorick and previously the Garen. These are a couple of throw picks here from Kreis.
Yep.
I don't think he should be locking that in all too much. The Gangplank, though,
Gangplank.
might just be the option for Kralix in the top lane. It's a decent counter pick against the Aatrox. You have to be very careful in the early stages, but when he gets to the mid-game point, the global presence of the Gangplank cannot be ignored, and the ability to split push in the side lane, the pressure is just so good.
Yeah, what this Gangplank means is that Kralix really just wants to sit in his lane, farm up and have that high impact global ultimate to maybe contribute to early team fights, and then bring the damage later in the game.
I think all eyes, though, is going to be between Shinsekai and Krex, because we were talking about how mid and top are big focal points for this matchup, and I think Shinsekai subbing over to the jungle role leaves a lot to be said.
That's right. I mean, we saw yesterday on how Krex, I believe, he camped his mid laner, and then he camped his top laner, and he
Yeah.
really brought them online. He really helped Yon be that scary Aatrox, and you know, if that happens again, we just see Yon run down NYP.
Yeah, almost similar to yesterday's game like you brought up, right? He needs to get an Aatrox ahead. On Rek's side, it's a bit trickier, but I think definitely doable in these 2v2s. In the early game, they do come out ahead, but Silas Gangplank not too good at skirmishing, of course. But when it comes to hitting the lanes, I think Krex can be a bit predictable sometimes. Like, if I'm calling it now and he goes top lane, and he does, I think NYP is sure, you know, keyed into that idea as well.
And
Yeah,
that's the thing, we keep talking about Krex, and that's because he has been very instrumental to his team's success. If he wants to get TP ahead, he has to hit those early ganks. And you see, Jarvan 4 is actually banned against him, and Rek'Sai is not actually that good of a ganker as compared to, you know, the Demacian Prince. So we have to see whether he's able to make do with it, or whether or not TP is just going to fall flat.
That being said, though, this sort of lineup of TP is very snowbally as well.
Yep.
If any one of them gets a hit, is potential for them to just put them in the side lane, play the 1-3-1, and get a hit on their own merit after that. NYP, though, looking for that skirmishing mid-game teamfight style of composition, abusing the fact that they do have a global presence with Gangplank, as well as pick potential from Akali Sylas.
Yeah, the thing about Akali Sylas is, though, if they do get behind early game, that is going to be one very useless duo. So what you want to do on these two champions is you want to go out from your lane. Maybe if you're on Kali, you want to push out the lane, get a little bit more of priority. Sadly, a bit
Difficult
against Corki. But what you want to do is you want to go out into the jungle and hopefully find a pick or two.
Looking at the composition, though, Sylas doesn't have the best ultimates to steal away from TP. Not very high impact if you consider it in the grand scheme of things. I think only the quickness from Rakan is the most useful when it comes to team fighting. Corki, Aatrox, the ultimates are kind of meh without the actual kit, so I think Shinsekai has to be very careful who he selects to hijack when it comes to these fights as well.
I like to think, though, maybe this is a strategy coming from TP. They know the NYP favor the Sylas, so they give it over and they just pick, you know, sort of lower impact ultimates so that he can't exactly contribute to these fights.
And it's pretty evident in the draft because TP, Sejuani was open, they didn't go for that,
Yep.
you know. And other high impact mid laners were open as well, opting not to go for that either, like the Azir, Emperor's Divide, great ultimate to steal. Instead going for Corki, which is a bit more laning dependent when it comes to the ultimate, you know, the poke coming in.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad when you're late game Sylas with a lot of AP. Those missiles do hurt,
Right.
but it is still not as high impact as like Sejuani, as you mentioned, or Azir.
So looking at the drafts, NYP still?
NYP still.
NYP still? Alright, so right now we're just waiting for the game to start. Of course, there's a 3-minute delay, but I'm pretty excited to see TP come out guns blazing because Yon's Aatrox is a work of art sometimes when he gets a hit. It's just so devastating to lane against, and the ingredients are there. You know, they can get this game in their favor if they want to.
And you know, they absolutely have to as a good starting point against NYP in this best of 3. I think if you get a win against NYP here, you're actually very confident,
so
and
much.
the scales actually tip a little bit towards TP's favor.
I think you want the momentum, right, going up
You
against
do.
NYP, because when you look at the lineups on both sides, the names, NYP is a team with, you know, multiple big name players. They're international players, they play on Resurgence, you know, and they have that competitive synergy between them. I think on TP's side, it has to be more of a, I wouldn't say a one-man show, but like you're looking towards Yon, right? You're looking towards Kiwi123 in the top side to take the lead and take the charge and maybe find game 1 together with Krex.
You know, I think, though, they're actually not that bad if they just try to stall out the game and play the late game. Because in the past, we've actually seen them very proficient at finding these leads later in the game. They're very good at finding fights and then pushing advantages into the end.
So after an interesting game yesterday, TP beating out SP, now in the finals against NYP. We have to see how this goes down on the riff. On the blue side, it's going to be Temasek Polytechnic. On the red, Nanyang Polytechnic. Pretty standard start from both sides, just fanning out.
Yep. No monkey business today, it seems.
Yep. I'd like to bring your attention to Christ, who picked Exhaust and Comet on the Yuumi. I mean, we see Aerie a lot and we see Ignite as well. Exhaust, pretty defensive over on the side of NYP there.
What this does is it allows them to be more aggressive in the bot lane level 1, especially when you hit the prowling projectile. The scaling on that is ridiculous. You do a huge amount of damage if you know how to land a spell. And the heal exhaust is to sort of offset any form of counter aggression coming in.
And yeah, when you're up against Rakan, he wants to jump in on you. So I think these defensive summoner spells show that this Yuumi knows how they must play this lane.
Damn, that was close. Shinsekai barely missing out on that stun.
Going in for round 2, I think Shinsekai wants to get the ward down, but meanwhile, the counter ward coming through on the brush as well. Shinsekai going for the Scon Adduct level up on level 1, so the E will be taken.
Let me get another pause. I think this is becoming a trend.
Yeah,
lately,
that's
isn't
We
it?
right.
get a pause the previous game, we get a pause this game. Hopefully we get them sorted out. The marshals are on site to fix any technical issues.
Right. Anyway, shouldn't take long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Curious how both junglers begin their pathing, because you can see Shinsekai sitting towards the blue buff with the help of his AD carry support, whereas Krex, he could start Raptors if he wants to, but instead will be the red buff start, I think.
Yeah, he's definitely going for red buff style. I think one thing, since we are focusing on the junglers, I think we want to look at maybe pressuring top lane. I think that's something that Krex definitely wants to do. He wants to get that Aatrox a hit so that he can become that late game monster we've seen in the semifinals.
I mean, Aatrox, of course, is on the stronger... he's sort of stronger earlier on, so if Krex paths top side gets him a hit, you know, that instantly becomes the strongest side of the map that he can play to. Whereas bot lane here, I think... Rakan, you kind of want to hit level 6 before you go for your all-ins.
So I'd like to point out also that Rakan bought a Spell Thief's Edge over the coin, so definitely looking to play more aggressively in the bot lane.
Yep, like, just as you mentioned, getting shoved out early on, but the problem projectile is going to come through. The shield is a bit too good here, the Glimmer Quill. It's going to keep him healthy still. Meanwhile, junglers matching the clear, so I say that Krex did opt for a full bot clear, moving to Crux, whereas Shinsekai already pathing topside to cover the weaknesses of this Gangplank early on.
And once again, Krex, the way that he's walking, he knows it's warded, so he just walks past it. Meanwhile, Shinsekai getting spotted out by TP. They know where he is, and whoa, a lot of action in the bot lane. Rakan and Yuumi both dropping pretty low. Ignite being used by Rakan as well.
The thing about this matchup is the Yuumi is fine being low health, because she can switch over the you and me and become invulnerable, so pretty good trade overall for NYP in the bot side.
Yeah, at this point, it's definitely advantage NYP in the bot side. Meanwhile, at the top side of the map, though, I see both junglers actually taking their respective buffs. They might actually go towards that top lane, which I think is going to be very spicy in a moment.
I still have to give the advantage over to the Aatrox Rek'Sai skirmishing power, especially with Hail of Blades onto the Rek'Sai. Isolate a target, burn him down, and back off.
Yeah, but that's the issue when you're, stronger in the early game. You get to push out the lane, which makes you a bit more successful to ganks.
Yep, Krex is hanging around. Shinsekai actually going back to the base, decides not to mirror Krex's movements. So Krex will win himself a Skull Crab for that.
Yeah, at this point, Krex doesn't really have anything to do. Aatrox and Corki both have priority over their respective laners, so he's just really left to wander around and farm up.
I think he's just covering the gank in case it comes up, because Kiwi123 has been shoving the wave up. You can see it's pretty much frozen here for Kralix in the top side. It's going to be counter pushing right now. And this is a window he can come in if he wants to with the Barrow.
And he does go in. Will he be able to land the knockup on that? But Shinsekai is here as well. Ooh, Kralix actually getting the knockup, but so much damage being returned to Krex. Forced to flash, and 2 flashes back. Shinsekai picking up first blood. Aatrox flashing away as well. Will Kiwi123 be able to make it out of this one alive? The chains land. Will Bankman be able to pull one more shot? Yes, he gets in with the grasp of the Undying as well. 2 kills for NYP.
Very timely counter gank coming in from Shinsekai. I think Krex wasn't expecting that. Maybe he thought Shinsekai had backed and went to the bot side. That's why he went in for the gank. He definitely did not expect Shinsekai to be up there in the top lane at that time.
Oh, Raven going in. Forces out the Valkyrie.
On that top 2v2 though, the counter gank was what made all the difference, because a lot of the damage was expended onto Kralix, who could have backed off and reset. And when Shinsekai came in, it was pretty easy for them to turn the gank around. Now top side is it's in a bit of a deficit, but I don't think that this is really going to hurt them all too much when it comes to... Oh no, tell a lie. Sheen is done for Kralix. This is really, really tough now.
Yeah, definitely a deficit for TP's top laner right now. We're going to have to see Krex go back up if he wants to find another advantage for them.
With the Sheen and the barrels, it makes it so that Kralix can consistently shove the wave up and pressure Kiwi123. So the lane that TP had a priority in is now gone. They can't play all too much towards the...
Oh my goodness. Christ, overstepping and just getting destroyed by the Zion Rakan combo. Shinsekai hanging around the mid lane. He's going to go in as well. Nearly predicts the Valkyrie, but misses out just by a little bit.
In the bottom side, hold on, going all in
Raven
once more.
actually going in to poke out, just does a bit of damage and he just walks off.
As I was saying, the bot side, that should not have happened. I think Christ overextending out. It tends to be the case when you play Yuumi. You have to sort of unattach yourself to get the mana as well as the shielding. For instance, he got caught by the Blade Caller and went down pretty quickly.
That's right. If the cat isn't on someone, it's really, really squishy. You just saw how he got popped basically there. Raven getting his level 6, going for an all-in on Corki, who does not have his ultimate. Raven just flashing over, and there we go. A solo kill with the electrocute. Raven just showing how good he is on this
You
champion.
have to fear this mid laner. Raven is just so good, knowing the timings that he hit level 6 in, immediately pushing for the all-in.
And that's what we talked about in Champion Select. Remember, how do you neutralize the Corki? You kill him early and you kill him fast.
Now Raven is found himself, or rather created his own lead in the mid lane. Cracks clearing a ward out right there. NYP still holding strong to a small goal lead in the mid and top side of the map, whereas bot lane, it's Iron Nitrogen and DLE. They're looking pretty healthy themselves.
It's a little unfortunate though. Rakan did pick up that kill on Yumi, so that gold wasn't really going over to Xayah.
I like that they did manage to cheat out an item advantage with the BF sword though, because of the assist goal coming in. So his opposition is going to pick up a pickaxe and a ruby crystal, but he will get the BF sword, which is so much more threat potential when it comes to trading.
Yeah, Scarlet Petal is going for the tier build, so that means that he's gonna come online a little bit later. Gonna need to wait to charge that one all the way up before he becomes rather relevant in the late game team fights.
And we've seen this from Kai'Sa players a lot this tournament. They go for the mana unit build to scale into the mid game, and I think it works with the mentality that you're fine ping-ponging the wave back and forth. You know, you just sit back and farm. Don't want any early attention or any early action.
And that's what both of these teams really want to do at this point, really. You don't want to sit back, you want to farm up, you want to hit your item. You want to hit your item spikes, and then you want to go in.
Oh, Shinsekai going in, but that's actually Iron Nitrogen that goes in first. Will Scarlet Petal fall? He falls before Shinsekai even arrives. Xayah now level 6, Shinsekai still level 5. The quickness will keep them alive. Shinsekai taking so much damage, but he manages to take Iron Nitrogen down. Now he gets the ultimate. Is he going to go in with the
so
quickness?
good.
Yes, he does. Rakan, is he going to be able to pick it out? Yes, he gets... No, actually, sorry, he gets a double kill, Shinsekai. But here comes Corki, still trying to fight a lot of damage on Christ. Is he going to be able to fight anymore? Krex is level 6 as well, Tidal straight in. Is he going to be able to dive? Are they going to go for the dive? No, Krex chooses not to use the ultimate on that one.
Getting the EXP, hitting level 6, and then hijacking the quickness is so good for Shinsekai that he managed to convert and turn a disastrous fight around for NYP.
And now you have to take a look. They did devote the resources of Corki and
Hold
Rek'Sai into that
because
fight. Never
Raven's
mind.
Showing up at top lane, Kiwi 123. You are getting dives, my friend, and you might just go down instantly. Actually, he's taking a lot of
the healing.
Whoa, Kiwi 123 staying alive in that. And now is he going to try to chase Kralex down? No, I think they did that dive pretty poorly.
Using the speed boost from the World Ender to evade the damage coming in. The healing is just icing on the cake to keep him alive. Great play there. And this is what we expected from the star top laner, the MVP of the previous Campus Legends, Yon in the top lane.
And that's what you have to think about when you're ganking or Aatrox, right? If you try to go under tower, he has that phenomenal healing that can keep himself alive.
Craig's going to start up the Mountain Dragon. Shinsekai's not in a place to react right now, so quite sure TB can get this one.
You know, bot side, no items picked up just yet for Scarlet Petal instead. Only getting the tier, which is very useless when it comes to combat stats. It's a scaling item, it doesn't really do much this early on, whereas his opponent is looking, oh, hold on, mid lane.
Oh, Raven going in. Forcing out the package from the Corki.
Yeah, that was a definitely very unfortunate trade for the Corki. That's not what you want to see. You want to use that package, you want to go for a gank. But right now, he's just way too afraid of Akali's damage to really risk not using it.
Yeah, he has a Hex Drinker as well. That's just how much respect he's showing. He's delaying his Trinity Force Power Spike for the defensive item.
And this is, you know, you normally see the Hex Drinker if you're playing against double AP, but like you say, you know, respecting the damage from the Akali, going for the resistances early on. Oh,
Oh.
cutting it a bit
Spicy.
close there, buddy.
Yeah.
Getting
Right
the
now-
resistances.
Sorry. But right now, we do see NYP walking into TP's jungle, you know, taking away these objectives, maybe even looking for a kill or two. And that just really speaks to the confidence that they do have now that they have the early lead.
NYP still pretty far ahead, 5-3 is the score, even though a botched top lane dive did sort of put them slightly behind. Overall, they're still looking pretty healthy. Pay attention to Shinsekai. He's creeping down into the bot brush here. There's a control ward, so he's not going to get
Yep.
spotted out. I don't think there's any reason for the Rakan to check this. Instead,
Oh,
he's going to pop the
Rakan actually
quickness!
is just going straight on Scarlet Petal. Scarlet Petal staying alive, using the Kai'Sa ultimate to shield himself, and they already picked up the first kill on Xayah. Now Rakan's a very sad man because there's no way out of this one. Scarlet Petal gonna be able to pick himself up a kill and an assist on that one.
Instantaneous reply there coming in from the bot laner. Shinsekai knew what was going down and he reacted so quickly.
It was just unfortunate timing for the Rakan to go in. Shinsekai was sitting in that bush. no vision on him, so maybe you want to invest a little bit more on wards in that push from now on.
The thing also, it's... Oh, hold on here. Krex coming down the bot side. He's looking for the
whoa,
damage
teleport.
down.
Scarlet Petal might just get solo kill, but will Krex be able to walk his way out of this? War Raven coming in with that ultimate. He's going to be able to surely pick this one up. Krex is solo. Actually, no, because look, he actually came and managed to kill Krex, but Corki came down as well.
Corki moving down very early with the package, I believe, managing to outroam his opponent, even though he had to teleport. So they trade 1 for 1, not too bad. Meanwhile, top side, it's a wet noodle fight between both of these bruisers. Q123, despite losing his health early on and getting dove, he's still ahead in terms of CS.
Yeah, I mean, he's still Aatrox, so Aatrox is just so strong compared to Gangplank in the early game. Gangplank kind of needs that Trinity Force, but there's a replay right now.
Some pretty good turret plays being taken by TP here. You can see mid lane, they lost 2. Hold on, so replay is going down. You can... Well, let's see the reaction coming in from Shinsekai. I think there was nothing much to be explained. The moment he was in position, the quickness was a mistake. You could see off the bat.
Definitely.
Now Shinsekai hanging around in top lane. QE123 going in for a little bit of poke. Jumping forward, that might have not been the best choice for him. Forced to pop the wall ender just to get out of that one alive.
In the Canyon Barrage to shove the wave up. Not really going to get any turret plays though, as we have 2 more minutes on these objectives to be taken. TP getting a good amount of environmental gold coming from the turret plays though.
Yeah, not much on the map for NYP to really go for right now, so Silas is just going to devote his time to taking that Rift Herald.
I know you have some strong feelings about this. You know, you tend to believe that Rift Herald is a bit of a tempo sing. NYP being ahead, do you think that is the same case here?
Alright, at this point you can't really contest any other objectives, and Shinsekai doesn't really have anywhere else he can be on the map. So this is pretty okay, unless, you know, QV123 spots him out and does something funky here.
At this point, he's going to get it completely fine. Yep. Not spotted out. There's no vision whatsoever. Smite should be able to claim this. He could save the summer spell if he wanted to, but no. Just going to use it to get some health back and probably exit the pit here. Meanwhile, bot lane, Prowling Projectile is going to find a Xayah. Rakan sitting in the wings. They're going to clear this control ward out. So no more sneaky shenanigans coming in from Shinsekai.
The bot lane has been really, really aggressive. All the time that we've seen them mess up is when the Rakan goes in first and then someone else from NYP shows up. So if they can actually get vision control, I think they would be able to pick up some kills on NYP.
Aatrox is hanging around though. I don't know what he really wants to look for right now, since his bot lane is actually pushing up that lane. Maybe he's going for another lane gang, a bit of a revenge against Shinsekai.
Oh, the Rek'Sai sitting on this angle is a pretty good entry point because you can burrow through the whole wall and come with the backline for a knock-up. So actually not too bad in terms of positioning.
Shinsekai is coming down as well though.
He's read this. He knows. He knows what's up.
Teleport is up for QE123 and as epistemology in TP's side, but Kralix and Raven don't have theirs.
Advantage over to the side of Temasek Poly for mid ADC and top. They do have the teleport advantage. Like you mentioned, Gerard. That's it. I don't know if they want to force this, or Control Ward is going to see Shinsekai walk past, and that's the gang avoided.
He's going to take that Control Ward and walk back into his own jungle. Dragon is coming up though, and I believe that's the package on Corki.
Now this is a turning point in the game because look at the core items completed on both teams. There is an Essence Reaver for the Xayah. Mule on the opposite side of Manamune doesn't really do much in the way of damage. Mid laners though, the story lies in the Hextech Gunblade. That is an item that's going to allow him to all in the Xayah or Corki if he gets the angle down.
Here's the thing though, on Xayah, you don't really, when you have the Essence Reaver, sure, you have a bit more damage. I don't think she really comes online to become that big damage profile until you hit the IE.
4 members of Temasek Poly down here.
Right, Scarlet Petal and Christ are in trouble because the package is here as well. Manages to flash out, keep himself alive for a while under the tower, but TP going to be able to dive that one. Scarlet Petal goes down. Meanwhile, NYP with their reply. Shinsekai going to pop the ultimate. Is QE123 actually going to be able to make it out alive? Yes, he walks away from that one. And TP gets the first star, and they interrupt the Christ as well. No, the Yumi's going to go down.
They were just way too overzealous of a recall from NYP. I have no idea why Christ was trying to do a recall right there in Vision.
NYP just being a little overconfident there, and they pop the Rift Herald in the mid lane, so they will not get all too much off this charge. But overall, you can see the goal lead has swung in favor of TP. They make the play on the bot side, they get the Dragon, and they get the turret as well.
That's right, TP beginning to get a goal lead on this one.
Up until this point, though, we've actually seen TP, sort of losing gracefully. Sure, the trades weren't exactly very favorable for them, but they never lost so much that they couldn't come back. As such, we've actually seen the gold lead not go too much over 1k, and now they're able to bring it back to their own advantage.
Lane assignments should be swapped up at this point, considering that bot tier 1 has gone down. Let's take a look at this replay coming in. So, interestingly enough, they go all in onto the Kai'Sa, which is the right choice. And, well, you have 5 members, why not? Opting following in for the dive as well. And the sad part is when Christ decides to recall on the turret. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, they misjuggled the aggro. It was a Raven that went in way too early without the support of Shinsekai.
Yeah, that was a very risky trade coming in from TP. If they had screwed that up, that could have been a whole lot worse. But in the end, they do actually manage to find advantages, and that's what counts at this point.
Yeah, 100% agree. If they had managed to convert the play, it would have been a Rift Herald to mid-tier 1 take. But of course, bungling up a bit equalizes the gold.
That's right. TP getting that first turret, as well as Christ on the end of that. Zaya holding on to the Zeal. Corki has yet to finish his 24, but Raven's going in for a 1v2. Epistemology uses that stopwatch. Is he going to be able to make it out of this one? I'm not sure about that. Whoa, he's so low, but Raven flashing in to take the kill now. Kiwi 1, 2, 3 versus Raven, but that Aatrox is really, really scary. I'm not sure how Raven can get himself out of this one. Kiwi 1, 2, 3 going for that final slam dunk, and Raven goes down.
Went for the solo kill a bit over greedy because he didn't know that Aatrox was there, but it was going to happen eventually. You knew that once he hit the Hextech Gambler, he would have wanted he wanted to go for the all-in the moment it was completed.
And these are the sort of trades that you really want to go in with this Akali right now, because post 20-25 minutes, this Corki is going to come up with a lot of damage, and you're going to find it much more difficult to try and get a solo kill on him.
TP now with the advantage on the top side will break the top tier 1 as well. So that brings the turret counts up to 2-1. A lot of ambient environment to going the way over to TP because of the early turret plays, and now the structures that they've been tearing down still puts them ahead by 300, despite massive individual leads on the Sylas and Akali.
Yeah, at this point though, if you're TP, I think the best play that you can go for here, right, is bringing your team together as 5 and sieging down that mid lane turret to open up the map so you can make plays elsewhere.
I'm not so sure if they want to play ARAM against this composition that's so good at pulling the trigger, though. If they misstep, NYP I think could opt to go for the all-in as well. Knowing that QE123 is still pretty strong, maybe you send the Aatrox to the side lane, you play the 1-4.
Yeah. But we do see Gangplank with the Trinity Force already completed, so that is actually a lot of damage coming in from him. Might actually be enough to answer the Aatrox.
Shinsekai catching out on the Rakan. Quickness and quickness, they're going to stand next to each other. Rakan going to be able to dash out, dash away. With
The value of having the Zaya means that the battle dance range is furthered. And he managed to get out of danger there with the flash as well. Seems like both teams have the right beat on this. They're sending their top laners to the bot side to play the 1-4. Felt like NYP already having Akali on top side playing 1-3-1. So there will be 2 side laners and this Kai'Sa Yuumi here to hold the wave in.
Take a look though, Corki with the Trinity Force and the Hex Drinker is actually going to be able to answer this Akali fairly well.
I think he can't overstep because epistemology, the moment he walks up too far, Raven's going to take the chance to all-in him. So
right.
yes, he can clear the wave. Yes, he can respond to the push, but there is no way he's going to be able to take that 1v1.
Take a look though, Rek'Sai is actually shadowing that lane in case Akali tries to go for any sort of engage. Right now though, it looks like there's going to be a bit of a lull in the game as both teams just sort of wander around mid lane.
I think the next big objective being Dragon is going to force both teams to react to this. That's it, they're both content farming up, like you mentioned, going to his Rage Blaze. The next item for Scarlet Petal here, as Rapid Fire Cannon has been completed by the Zaya Iron Nitrogen. Feeling pretty happy with 2 core items.
That's right, and Gangplank has nearly completed that IE. Does have the BF sword and the pickaxe as well. Once 2 items are on that Gangplank, it's going to come online. It's going to do a lot of damage with those barrels in the team fights.
The question is whether Kiwi123 can find the flanks on these fights, because we know that there's a good amount of dive on NYP's side, but I'll scratch that. Even if he flanks the backline, Scarlet Petal is going to be able to dive into these fights. So I think I'm going to have to award the advantage over to NYP now.
We do see the Rage Blade actually now being completed for the Kai'Sa. That is a huge item for her, and if NYP understands this well enough, they might actually force for a fight. to convert into Dragon.
And this is Inferno Dragon as well. It's the big one. Both teams
That's right.
looking to get this objective. Package already picked up by Epistemology. Raven will see his counterpart in the river. Pings down onto the Corki.
Yep. Teleports are up as well for most players except for Corki and Scarlet Petal.
It's
But
going to be a
doesn't matter.
spicy contest.
Yeah, the Scarlet Petal is right there. Christ gonna get spotted out, but Shinsekai, he might just be a little too far forward.
oh, man.
He's left alone. Shut down over to Krex, and that means that they're probably gonna get this Fire Dragon. Raven, what are you doing over there? He has to use his ultimate just to get out. Krex is gonna get that dragon.
Bit of a misplay coming from Shinsekai, overreaching when the rest of his team wasn't there, and TP convert in outstanding fashion, get the Inferno Dragon, get the kill on Shinsekai, and force the ultimate away from Raven, who is really relying on that skill to make a play.
And wait a minute, I thought NYP was playing the pick comp. It turns out that when NYP tries to go for those kinds of plays, way too overconfident, TP is actually able to capitalize and shut them right down.
I'm curious how this is going to develop as now the goal lead definitely in the favor of Temasek Polytechnic in this best of 3 right now. The favorites, NYP, the roster with the most stacked members in this tournament. Not looking too good thus far.
They still have the late game though. They have got the Gangplank and the Kai'Sa, two very, very strong late game threats. Gangplank has that Infinity Edge, so if he does land that crit barrel, it can really, really just destroy TP's health bars.
But do you really want to go into a late game situation against Temasek Poly though? They have shown extreme proficiency in playing this late game. They know how to find these fights, and I think going into this late game, you have to be very confident in your team.
I think NYP are a bit more up to task if you put it that way. They do have that sort of synergy that's been developed to playing together for so long. Oh, Shinsekai.
Going in so angsty with that Silas.
A bit over-aggressive there. He didn't know if there was anyone behind, and there was a ward there, right? He could have spotted multiple members. So Shinsekai has to be very careful here as the rest of his team isn't around to back him up. Take a look at the lanes that have developed right now because of the bot tier 1 that's been taken on the red side. Yon is always going to be pushing in.
Krex. Rakan going with the quickness onto Shinsekai, and Shinsekai, you're in no man's land, man. 2 more kills over to TP. Christ goes down, Shinsekai goes down.
That's a double kill picked up by the
and that's
Xayah. This is
Baron.
instantly Baron here as they transition over. You have to be very careful of how they approach this angle. There's no jungler, there's only a mid, top, and AD carry. Voiceseeker is going to find the members on the Baron now as it drops to 3,000. Here comes the Cannon Barrage. They might look to stake this steal. Nope. No one around to even contest it as it gets stolen out, rather confirmed by the AD carry.
Definitely a good play here. You do not want to go into that Baron pit and look for a 3v5 fight if you're NYP.
Nitrogen actually the only one to not recall. Standing there alone against Raven, showing the confidence that he has on that Xayah with 2.5 items.
I think it's a bit wishful thinking right there, hoping that the Baron steals, rather that the Cannon Barrage steals the Baron away, knowing that the Smite. Now TP with a extremely commanding, I say extremely, it's 3,000, the biggest it's been this game against the contenders NYP. Now let's not forget TP were the victors of last year. They're looking to repeat this performance once more.
It's definitely been a very uphill battle so far, but I've harped on this a lot already, but TP does not play his late game. When they get this Baron, they know exactly where to use it.
Shinsekai taking so much damage. Rakan just flashing in and correct! Taking him down. Now Raven's in the middle of everybody. What is he going to be able to do? Puts a lot of damage on the Xayah, who's forced to get out of this fight. Will stay alive for a while. Krex saving Xayah once again. Nitrogen on a rampage.
Only the AD carry as well as the top laner left alive. Yumi's barely a body on the board right now as NYP lose several members in an extremely adventurous play. TP saw the window, capitalized, and they find a mid-tier 2.
Yeah, and look, this is one of the main plays that TP make right after taking Baron. They go for a tower, and when you try to contest that, they know they're stronger and they go for the fight.
Final
NYP
chapter being
going
used in the mid lane.
Forcing a flash out with that final chapter on Yumi.
Now they can reset the Baron buff and go for the next set of buys. You can see an instant Guardian Angel picked up by Krex because he wants to be using the Void Rush to dive the backline and force Scarlet Petal away.
That's right.
Xayah now 5-2-3 with 3
That's the
items on
Infinity
the
Edge you're
board.
talking about, man.
She is going to put out a lot of damage. I find it very difficult if this Kai'Sa wants to contest that.
That's right, and Epistemology picked up a Maw of Malmortius. It's just so much respect on that Corki. But that means that you might just be able to fight Raven now.
And looking at the TP composition, I'm hesitant to say that there's any single target that you want to focus to win the game. As Raven, the Akali, you might be thinking, okay, well, if I kill the AD carry, maybe I win the game. I might win the fight off that as well. But because there is double AD carries in the form of Corki and Xayah, it's a bit tricky in terms of who he has to select for his targets. Ideally, he could find both, but that is a tall order for the mid lane of NYP.
TP gonna use their Baron buff to take another outer turret. NYP has no more of those left.
Yep, TP right now in a very strong position, very willing to play the 1-4, sending Aatrox to that mid lane of pressure.
Yeah, the minimap tells it all, right? You have the pressure of the Aatrox with the Baron just shoving mid, and there's no one really on NYP's side that can fully contest 1v1. Sure, they can clear the waves out, but I don't think you want to send anyone to even like duel against this Aatrox. Instead, they're going to revert back to this Ocean Dragon objective and try to clear that one out.
Ocean Dragon at this point, actually pretty good if you have two of them and TP, you're playing the 1-4. The Ocean Dragon's will keep you topped up to continue pushing those waves.
Double Ocean, an Inferno, and a Mountain Dragon. That's a good amount of advantages that they've garnered for themselves.
That's right. TP really showing control over that dragon, acquiring all 4 compared to NYP, who's.
But
not
to be
exactly
fair, they've been making the plays that are
yeah.
necessary to get these objective control, rather the dragon takes down.
And now NYP has weathered the storm of the Baron. They can actually go to look for some of these opportune fights that maybe TP don't expect and look for a few advantages through them.
I don't know, man. I feel like NYP are drawing dead at this point because your win condition would have been, you know, the late game gangplank. But at this point, I think it's really hard for him to take the Aatrox. And if you take these 5v5 fights, who are you going to isolate? Corki, Xayah? One of them has a Maw of the Malmortius. The other one has Featherstorm to evade your advances. I think super tricky for NYP at this point.
And that's right. And Xayah has picked up a Hex Drinker as well, Eye Nitrogen, following in the footsteps of his mid laner.
And you did say they want to isolate. No, they are not sure who they want to isolate. But here's another layer of difficulty onto that. TP ever since 23 minutes in this game have been pretty much sticking as 4 or 5.
Right.
That's just going to add another layer of complexity in isolating one person in the fight.
Yeah, they're not content playing the 1-3-1, instead moving as a 4-man unit. Great that you pointed it out because Xayah Rakan +2 is an instant death sentence if they find anyone on overextended. Holy
Whoa,
moly.
damn it.
That was just
Jesus.
one hit onto Scarlet Petal. It's already down to slightly above half health. TP just taking that inhibitor turret nearly instantly.
And like you point out, that's the power of the Infinity Edge combined with the Rapid Fire Cannon. You get the extended range on the first auto attack once the item charges up. Right there was just half health of the Kai'Sa player that was taken out.
And here's the thing though. If you're TP, you can't exactly push into the NYP base unless NYP slips up and looks for an unfavorable fight. NYP right now content with holding down and turtling in their base. So what TP want to do right now, they want to farm up, continue those pushing lanes, and wait for Baron to spawn again.
Yeah, that was extremely adventurous by Shinsekai there to even throw out the abduct forward.
Yeah, he's just been flying into weird, sticky situations that he can't exactly get himself out of. Starting things that are not ideal for NYP, so Shinsekai's really got to be careful with those, especially with just how much CC TP has. I mean, everyone on TP save Corki has some form of CC, so Shinsekai has to pay more respect.
But that being said, this guy was a main activator for a lot of NYP's early aggression, and now he's fallen off slightly behind. You can see that the clear decision isn't exactly the calls here coming in from Shinsekai. In other words, he's not performing like you'd hope when they transition to the mid and late game.
Now Baron is up once again. So members of NYP are going to start moving over for that. Teleports are up for the side of NYP and nearly up on the side of TP.
We did see NYP come into this top lane jungle and place down some wards, but I'm not sure if that's enough to dissuade TP from taking any sort of ambush engages. So NYP really have to watch themselves, but TP start the Baron.
Oh, a lot of damage on the Eye Nitrogen. He was tanking up the Baron. This Canyon
Yeah,
Barrage
Barrage
is going to
can stop
show the attempt, and it's not so sneaky anymore. So members of NYP will back off this area.
But TP are just going to start it up again.
Rinse and repeat is the modus
Now
operandi
NYP
here.
has no idea about this, and Baron is falling
gone.
so fast. Shinsekai, it's not even going to be able to get close enough. Raven, it's not even going to be able to do anything. Shinsekai going golden. Raven picking up 1 kill. Shinsekai's forced to flash out. Raven getting so low. Epistemology putting out so much damage to the Corki, but he's the front line. And here comes the true front line. The Aatrox flashing in Yon, picking up the first kill, second kill, or nearly on Shinsekai. Is he going to be able to pick this
He
one up?
wants it.
Oh, Craig's flashing in for the snipe. Getting so many kills. Kralix goes down as well. Scarlet Petal, the only man to limp away from this fight.
Yeah, that was a terrible fight. They stuck around too long after the Baron was down. What you could have done there was just, back off, admit that they've got the objective, and then you reset and fight inside your base. But there they got caught out one by one by the Rakan, and now it's game over. I think TP
That's right. Scarlet Petal
looking
getting
close.
pushed.
Oh man, the damage. Where did it come
was
from?
that? Scarlet Petal just absolutely disappeared. Craig's going in for the golden stopwatch, and TP, they'll pick up their first win.
NYP limping away from this first game, dragging their tails between their legs. A bit unfortunate. Both of you called it. You said TP would have, rather NYP would have been the one coming out and hit this matchup. I think TP definitively saying that they're here to play.
And now with this advantage, you're 1 game ahead on NYP. You must be feeling super duper confident right now. If NYP is unable to temper their aggression, I think TP actually stands a pretty good chance of taking this.
And you were saying how it's almost key for TP here to take game 1 and get the momentum against NYP, because the moment they lose, that's when they start downing themselves a bit.
Yep.
They've done that right now. In this best of 3, do you think they'll be looking to move forward game 2 and take the win as well, or is this just a momentary hiccup for NYP?
Well, like I said, if NYP is unable to, say that this is one fight that we cannot take, I think their overconfidence will get the better of them, and they actually might end up losing the series.
Right, so have to be careful as they approach forward. Don't be overconfident. Maybe it's the key as we look forward to this best of 3. For now, guys, we're going to go for a short break. Both teams will take a moment to regroup and recap about how that game went. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.